Hi everyone, welcome to my very first video. My name is Morgan, and I wanted to show you guys just a quick tutorial about how I use the grid method to draw really accurate poses and faces and things like that. I found it really useful. I don't use it all the time. A lot of times for my own art, I'll just kind of freehand it, but I found that this grid method is really good for getting a feel of where things are and kind of using relative placement to get things where they need to be. So without further ado, here we go. So I've got my iPad here. I've got my image, which I got from a free stock images site, and I just want to show you how to draw something like this. It simplifies the process of drawing. It helps you be more confident in your proportions and things like that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do in Procreate is go over to your canvas and turn on the drawing guide. Okay, so what you want is to make it about the same size as your picture. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as you can see on this image here that I've got pulled up, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. So let's do it to 6 squares on here. Okay. The thickness is okay. I don't mind the lines being black. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make the lines red. And I'm going to make the lines just a tiny bit thicker. There we go. Okay. You can crop your canvas if you want it to be just those 5 squares wide. And let's see how many squares tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 squares tall. Okay. So where you start just depends on your preference. So I generally start around the head area just to get that blocked in, and then I try and block in the bigger areas of the body, just to get an idea for what shapes there are. So let's start. So as you can see, her head starts about 1.5 squares down, and kind of the right quarter of it starts with this line right here. And so I'm just going to start there, and as you can see, it's about halfway up, maybe a little bit taller, halfway up from this line here. So let's just start with that. So let's see. It starts about right here. And as you can see, you follow that curve down. Follow that curve down to the second line here. And actually, as you can see, it's not that big. It actually goes maybe down again to the bottom quarter. And this is all like guesstimation, right? Like, you're not going to calculate exactly where one line intersects with the picture, but you can get a rough idea. And so as this curved line comes down, you can actually see that there's a bit of a straight line in her face, in the side of her face. So let's get that. And then as you can see in her cheek, it actually starts to loop down or slope down again. Right almost where these two lines intersect. So I'm going to continue that facial line down, and it looks like it ends right about here. So let's bring that down here, and kind of to create some continuity here, you want to kind of make sure that your line follows through and it's not just like like that. So her chin is a little bit rounded, and as you can see, her jawline comes up right about here. So let's do that rounded jawline. And actually there's a little bit of a slope here. So what happened here is that I kind of did that sharp edge. So I'm just gonna fix that real quick. Okay, so her jawline comes back up just under where this intersection is. So it actually comes up from there as well, curving upward. And then it has kind of like a very slight crescent shape as you move back up. And you know, we're not going to forget the ear. The ear is rather small, but it sits right, kind of right under this line here. There's lots of like going back and forth in my drawing. You know, I like to try and get things as close as I can. I don't certainly get things perfectly, but if I can kind of get a good feel for it. I say I try not to be perfect, and here I am like screwing with it. Okay, so as you can see, there's a little bit of skin here in her ear. I'm not going to draw all of the inner workings of her ear right now, but I just wanted to get that kind of filled in. And actually, I'm going to go back because her face is actually very, the edge of her face is actually very close to this line. So I'm going to try that again. Just draw in a piece here. Okay, now I'm done with the ear. Sorry. So now her head comes up and is just kind of crossing this line right here. And actually it's a little bit farther down. It's about halfway farther down. And you can see that that's about accurate because it meets up with this guy over here for her other side of her head. And then I'm actually going to draw in this shape of her head, even though it's not super visible. I just want a reference because when I draw the bun up here, that'll just make it easier. So her bun is curly. I'm not going to do the final touches to the curls, but I'm just going to map it a little bit. Let's see, it comes up through here. And I've really overshot this line right here, but that's okay. And it goes kind of in this like circle shape. Of course it's a circle shape with a bun, but there's kind of some flat sides to it. And it comes right back until probably about here, I would say. So rather a large bun, but that's okay. And we can, if we want to, we can map out like a little bit of the hairline here. Gets a little thin right here, and then it starts to kind of diffuse out this way. And we have kind of her side hairline here, and then as we go towards the top, it kind of goes back a little bit, and then it travels kind of right down past here. So now we have her kind of hairline mapped out. So instead of doing her features right now, I'm going to go ahead and make her face a little thinner. I'm going to kind of start with her neck now, and it goes right actually from where it meets right here around this corner, and comes down maybe a quarter of the way down that way. And her shoulder actually slopes back up to almost meet the line right here. So I'm going to just show that. It's almost like it's not like it's more of a harsh angle right here. Okay. And then as you can see, her arm kind of travels this way and kind of goes off the page a little bit, and that's okay. We can kind of work with that. About the halfway right here. It kind of goes off the page right about here. So what we're gonna do is look at the bare part of her arm, which is about halfway down right here. So let's do that, and then it goes just until the point above here. Okay, so there we go. And then it goes, this forearm piece comes in sort of sloping down, and I'm going to start it right here and get it to slope down and kind of rides this line right here. So I'm going to erase this piece, and let's see, it kind of follows this line really closely and kind of slopes down and then comes back up a little bit past this line, because that's where her hand is coming out. So there we go. Okay. Okay, so you can see there's this little dip in her hand, and it's about right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that little dip right there, and maybe it's even a little bit smaller than that. There we go. Subtlety is really important to kind of notice, and once you look at this and develop an eye for it, obviously I don't have that much of an eye, but it becomes a lot easier. Okay, so now we're gonna do her thumb, and her thumb comes down and kind of intersects between this line and maybe almost halfway down on this line. So I'm gonna, and it seems like a curved line here, an angled line here, and then it seems to angle down a little bit more, so. And it goes just past this line right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the shape of that nail. Okay. And then as you can see, her, let me zoom in here. As you can see, her thumb kind of has a skin part that shows underneath that nail. So we're just going to do that, and we're going to bring the line up. And her thumb isn't super thick, so just gonna do that here. And then she has, actually right here, her hand gets a little bit thicker. And as you can see, there's like one line here and several lines. So it looks like there are several kind of lines coming out from that area. Okay, and then we have the finger, and let's just draw that candy in a little bit here. Sorry, the thumping is my cats fighting. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a triangle that's formed right here. And clean this up a little bit, because there's a little bit of a curve right here. Okay, and then we put maybe some lines right here. Okay, so let's do the bottom of this finger, which seems to kind of have a little bit of a slope right here, and then it just kind of goes into the thumb, curving into the thumb here. And it looks like that finger is kind of tucked behind the thumb. So no biggie, perspective is hard, just kind of do your best right there. So now I'm going to draw in the rest of her arm. Now that I'm looking at it, I think some of this is a lot smaller and more over to the right. So let me see if I can do that here. Okay, so there's the little triangle here. Okay, so let's do her finger now. There we go, that looks a little bit better. And her wrist is meets the arm about right here. So let's do that piece of the hand that comes down. And then we'll do the rest of the arm, which just kind of slopes slightly. Okay, so notice that this part of the wrist kind of overlaps with a line right here. And then now we're gonna do our other fingers, okay? So this kind of has a angled line right here. We're going to just follow the line down so it goes right until below this line right here. And it kind of follows this line, and then you see a curve up for that last piece of the finger. So we're gonna do that. And then there's a nail. So nails are kind of tricky. You just go like that. And there's a little bit of a curve here. And then it follows that curve in kind of a flat way on the other side. Okay, so you need to leave room, like right here, you don't just want to follow exactly, you know, parallel lines. You want this one a little bit longer to show the knuckle. And then you go over here, and you're always watching where your lines are intersecting, right? So this intersects right about a little behind the knuckle, okay? And actually, in the picture, this looks a little bit skinnier, so I'm just gonna fix that a little bit. Okay, so it comes up kind of midway through, I would say, and then we have the hint of a knuckle here. Okay. And don't worry how it looks right this second. We're gonna be able to fix how it looks, but there's another finger. This back finger comes down, and this is the knuckle right here. So this back finger comes down, and it's actually very slim behind this other finger. So we're just gonna go like that, and then the finger in the back comes up this way and has that nail. And then you gotta make sure that your lines kind of line up behind there. Okay, so this finger is a little bit thick still, so I'm gonna go ahead and make that a little bit thinner. And I'm gonna denote that on this side just by going like that. There we go, that seems a little bit better here. And this, you know, drawing piece is a lot about erasing. Even when I'm drawing on paper, I am erasing so much. We do have our basic hand kind of mapped out. Let's start drawing her shirt just a little bit. So her arm, I'm gonna fix this, this looks curved. Her arm is coming up this way. And you see kind of the ruffled or scrunched up look of her sleeve right there. So what you're gonna do is just kind of follow your eyes, right? there seems to be like a curve right here, and it's about, you know, let's do this part of the puffed up sleeve. It goes this way, and it kind of comes, so it goes like that, and it comes up and it meets the arm about halfway up the second line here. Okay, so then this comes off it like this. Have some little bit of wrinkles there, and it comes up beyond this line. There are lots of like swoops and I don't know what to call them, like lines that denote the folding of the fabric, and that can be really hard. So we're gonna leave that for later. But we can also maybe erase some of these lines. Let's do some of the other part of her neck here. So it seems to come down about right here, and take this angled line, which is a little bit wavy, right? It shows her collarbone and then it goes down to her chest. So let's just do a hint of a wave here. Maybe a little bit more. And then it stops just beyond that intersection, okay? And then it comes up. So we're gonna follow the line of her shirt, actually. So it comes up and it cuts this line right here, this triangle. And then the triangle comes up, we're gonna make another triangle with this right here. So it's kind of sloping up. And then it goes mostly kind of straight across. So it does have a little bit more slope here, and then it goes straight across. And then it meets with this guy right here. Okay, so that's the outline of her shirt. And if you want to, you can see kind of the hint of her collarbone up here. So you can kind of do that piece. And even the shadow under her collarbone, like there's a little bit of a shadow right here. It's all up to you what you do and when you do it, but sometimes I like to denote those things. We've got kind of her left boob over here, and so it slopes this way. I don't know, curve right here. Curve. So we're gonna come, and it comes down kind of to right here, right? So that's her kind of boob area. And at that point, you have some of the skin. You have some of the skin coming down from almost where this intersection here. You want this to come down, it slopes here, and then it is actually pretty straight. It has a little bit of a curve, but it's pretty straight coming down, and it, as you go past this line, it actually goes in a little bit right here to show her stomach. So you've got her hip, which is pretty straight, until it comes down to about here, okay? Okay, and we're not gonna worry about the bikini right now. We're just worried about, you know, the shape of her body. And it kind of rides this line right here a little bit, and then at the end it goes off to her leg, which just goes off the page right here. Okay, so what we've got now is actually a pretty nice outline going on. Right now what I want to continue doing is to outline the rest of her body, the other side of her leg, the big part of her bikini, and then I will start drawing in some of the clothing. this poofy kind of shirt is covering her up, and we stopped right here. But what I'm going to do is kind of fill in the rest of this just to get that poof out of the way, because it has like this almost U shape. You know what? I didn't do that right. And I just realized that I totally made her arm a lot longer than it was. So what I'm going to do is grab this right here, and I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to move it right here. Okay. And then I'm going to erase some of these lines right here. This is the thing that I particularly like about digital art. You know, it is very versatile. You don't have to erase things completely. Okay, so now this makes it a lot easier to go ahead and draw those fabric sort of swoops. So let's see, fabric swoop right here. And the fabric kind of goes down now, and it meets this part right here. Okay, and then as we see, it comes back up underneath, or over the thumb right here. So we have some ruffles. Now, I really like ruffles. They're not that hard to draw. You just start off with some of these squiggly lines. So let's pay attention to the rest of her body now. On this side, we have, we have this circle kind of thing going on where her waist and her fingers, where the waist is behind her fingers. And then it kind of follows her fingers down a little bit and comes out right here. Now, this is kind of a big space. Alright, so this is kind of a space where it goes from here to here, because that denotes her hip. And then it cuts across in a triangle right here. And then you see the curve of her butt as it curves down. And it curves just ever so slightly this way. And then it straightens out again. Now what I'm going to do is start drawing in some of that bikini there. So we go like this, and then we see the line of the bikini kind of come this way. And we're using those reference lines again, but we're also using the rest of the image as a reference, because it goes, this little bikini line goes over the curve of her finger, okay? continues on its way, kind of this way, and then continues and curves just above that bottom line. So it curves inward, right? And I've done the rest of it here because that's her leg. She does have a hint of muscle or some shadow here that we can do. So we see that the top of the bikini goes like this, and it curves way down to the bottom of this intersection here. And then in this square right here, we actually see just kind of a big U, like a slanted U, go up like, and then we see it go back up here and out a little bit as that knot is just pulling those strings over here, okay? So at this bottom kind of intersection here, we're gonna draw out and we're just gonna swoop to meet this right here. And we're gonna make a triangle right here. So now, and also let's put in the belly button. It's kind of like smack dab in the middle of, and it has kind of line right there. Okay, so let's put in that other hand now. So it starts right above where this kind of curve is. So that's the nail, and then a little bit of finger comes out behind that nail, and so we have this line that denotes the front of her finger overlapping her hand, and we have this other line that is kind of her other piece of her finger underneath that knuckle. Those strings, and they come up right here. Now let's get into her face. All right, so I'm going to lower this. So her eyes are actually looking down in this. So you want to find, so this piece right here, this intersection right here, is actually coming down, and her brow is right here. So let's start with that brow. And it just curves very gently this way. And it's kind of like a wisp of a brow. And then her eye comes down, and it seems kind of like it goes past this line right here. So and then it goes back up to kind of shoot like this part right here goes up towards the end of that eyebrow. And then she has actually this little depiction of the inside of her eye, which goes like this. Okay, and her eye is just slightly open right here. So let's mark that. All right, let's do the other eyebrow. So the other eyebrow actually, so let's grab that other eyebrow, and it actually comes up above this line at some point and goes to that point right here. And it stays kind of well away from this other eyebrow, but it's not that long. There we go. All right, so her other eye, if we look at it kind of straight on, that other eye is a little bit higher because it follows this kind of diagonal line right here. So let's see, it comes, and you want to use the other features as a reference, but it seems to start right about here, okay? And then we have that inner eye. And again, this little tiny space here that kind of lets you know that that eye is open. And then what we've got is this bit of a line right here and a bit of a line right here to show her actual eyelids. Okay, so now we're gonna do her nose, right? So her nose is, we have this line right here, and her nose comes, maybe less than a quarter above that area, and it comes very close right here, actually, in the curve. So let's make that curve right here on the right. You know what? As we were talking about before, that nose looks really close to the line where the lip is. So let's take that and just move it up. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Now let's do the lips. And actually I've decided that I don't really like this intense shading. So I'm going to turn down the opacity of this eraser and just lighten up some of these shadows that I've kind of sketched in. All right, our eyelashes are kind of sloping this way. There we go. All right, so now let's do her mouth, okay? So her mouth goes above this line, and it actually, so usually the mouth comes right, the edge of the mouth comes right under kind of the iris of the eye. So we're gonna start it right here, which is about where it looks like, and we're gonna do this curve. And the curve comes right under this curve under her nose there. And we're gonna do that sort of lip, the angel, what's it called? What's it called? The angel's bow or Cupid's bow. And I'm gonna come down right here. Okay. So let's fill out that bottom lip first. It goes down and it's not flat at any point. It just continues to curve. Yeah, and then let's finish it off with this curving line that kind of follows her Cupid's bow and goes up here and comes back down. Okay. So this is what we've kind of got, and you can go through and play with, like this seemed to come up a little high, so I'm just going to fix that and just go around. If something doesn't look right, you can just fix it, right? Like I forgot to draw this candy piece in here, so we're just going to do that. but if something doesn't look right, or if you're not liking it, just play around with it a little bit. It's really easy, especially with Procreate. Like, there are so many different tricks you can use, and you know, everything will come into place, and the more you practice, the more it will come into place. So that's my tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.